the Harris-Walz campaign raised $287 million in August versus $85 million for the Republican ticket. So there is this huge deluge of an enthusiasm represented by these numbers. But what I would anticipate and what I focus on a lot, because I think it's more important for the tax bill, is where that money is being spent. And a lot of it is trickling down ballot. So you see Republicans now defending Senate seats where they should otherwise have no business spending money. States like Texas and Florida, for example, even Iowa. And then Nebraska would be another example. And then down ballot even further on the House side, the Democrats have just expanded the map into non-swing states, into states and districts where maybe Biden won, but maybe Harris is potentially going to pick up tiny little pockets of the population. And that's her campaign strategy. Go into the suburbs, go into some of the rural areas, whether it's in Pennsylvania or North Carolina or Georgia, and really try to speak to voters exactly where they are. So think of the money not in terms of what it can do from a big picture perspective. You know, everybody's already bought their ad campaigns, but think about how it fuels up the gas for a tour bus for House and Senate members to go on tour in their districts. That's where all that money is being plowed into. And that's going to be the difference between a split control of Congress next year or a sweep for one party or the other.
The Harris campaign spending an average of $7.5 million a day in August compared with $2.6 million a day Donald Trump. Wow. Henrietta, you mentioned the tax bill. How are you thinking through the likelihood of there being significant changes to the tax code? You mentioned that debate between Vice President Harris and former President Trump in Philadelphia, and we got more economic policy points from her on the heels of that. So much of this hinges on who's in Congress, what the dynamics there are. Walk us through sort of how you're thinking about that amidst all this uncertainty at the presidential level. Looking at how should we interpret what these two candidates are saying about taxes in light of the fact that they're going to have limited power to do much without Congress?
Well, I'm going to be kind of aggressive here and say the two sides are not far apart at all. And the election outcome, I think, is going to be pretty easy to translate to tax policy. Here's why. If Trump wins with 90% odds, I anticipate he'll have a Republican Senate, and with 60% odds, he'll have a Republican House. So that's one party control. All of the tax cuts will be extended at their current rates. I do not think the corporate tax rate will drop. There are not enough votes for that in the United States Senate. The SALT cap will go to 20K or thereabouts. We will not repeal the IRA tax credits for manufacturing, et cetera, et cetera. On the Democratic side, if Kamala Harris wins, I still have 90% odds that the Senate is going to be Republican. What happens in that universe? Exactly what happened in 2010. You get a 2-year extension of all the existing tax breaks for every income bracket. You raise SALT to maybe 40, 60K. You provide a child tax credit, which is about another $1 trillion, and you maintain all the IRA tax credits. That's going to be your bill if Kamala Harris wins. The idea where Democrats have a sweep control is only a 10% prospect, in my opinion. So effectively, what I'm saying is no matter what happens at the top, you're going to get a 2-year extension at a minimum of all the existing tax breaks.